lesson. Just to repeat what I say every time, all the lessons are available for everybody to read at their own pace. That's the main way we like to share the content. But it was kind of fun to talk through it, answer some questions, on the spot. So I figured I'd do that again. I think I have a pretty good lesson picked out to discuss today. And then once we have that out of the way, we'll get back to the usual playtesting, Q&A, that kind of thing. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Coolio. So let's see. We got a pretty good crowd shaping up. I think maybe another 30 seconds or so, and I'll jump in. Today, I'm going to go over lesson 3, and there's a reason I chose that. So hopefully many of you have already read through lesson 3. I think in a lot of ways it may be the most important of all the lessons because it's the one that goes over the importance of playtesting. And I think that if you learn nothing else from this course, just learning the importance of getting your game early on in front of other people and getting their feedback, that may be the most important thing you can take away from the course. So we're going to talk through that a little bit. Manvi will actually be making a dual appearance because she's here live, but you may remember this, Manvi. There is also video in that lesson, or rather audio, of Manvi doing a live play test of a game demo that I made. You'll also hear audio of a couple other Astrocade team members. So I got 3 different playtest sessions as an example of good ways to collect input from players. So while we may agree this is too much Manvi, I think it's a risk. So the most important thing always.
No, I think everyone loves that. There are more people joining actually, just since you said that.
All right. All right. Well, how about this? Why don't we jump in and notice that Toxic typed that. He didn't dare say it. Okay, just a second. Oh, by the way, big news. We are getting really close, I think. I don't think I'm promising too much here. I think we're getting very close to porting all of the lesson content onto the site. I shared a little preview of that yesterday. So before long, it'll be much more convenient to read through the lessons. And as I think I also mentioned yesterday, there will also be a little bit of new lesson content that is part of the transition to the web out of the Google slide decks. So that's something to look forward to as well.
I want videos. Just like the first time you did it, the first season, you had a sweet video that, you were showing examples and it was all animated and fancy.
The videos
are so much more fun.
I love the videos. They take so much to produce, just in terms of kind of time and effort. But their videos are on the roadmap. One of the reasons, though, the videos have taken a little bit more time is partially because Astrocade itself is still evolving. We're adding new tools, we're changing the way the interface works, at least in some ways here and there, especially when it comes to like analytics. So if you want the tools to review how your game is performing, that whole thing is very much a work in progress. And so one of my concerns is putting a ton of work into some nicely polished video, and then like next month the interface changes and that whole video is out of date. So it's been a little bit easier to have it in more of a lightweight format, like it's mostly text and diagrams and screenshots. But as things start to stabilize, we're going to move more and more over to video. Obviously, everyone agrees it's a lot more digestible. But there are still videos embedded in some of these lessons, so there's a little bit of video content. All right. Wait, do we have an actual Noxic? I just noticed.
When Toxic and I fuse, I think.
Yeah. But how can all 3 of you be here at the same time? That's the part.
There is a Noxic.
There is a Noxic. What I love about the Astrocade community is you just sort of say something in passing, and within about a day it becomes real because someone just manifests it. So let's all be careful with this power that we have. All right, let's jump in. So lesson 3 is called Creating the Core Gameplay Mechanic. For anyone that was here yesterday, or maybe better yet, people who weren't here yesterday, we covered lesson 2, which is about the importance of your game's core gameplay mechanic. Quick recap. The core gameplay mechanic is just kind of a fancy way of saying the main thing that you do in the game, like the clearest, most central action. So it could be in a game like Candy Crush, it's the Merge 3 mechanic. In a game like I shared my Ragdoll Slingshots game, and in that game, the game mechanic is just pulling back and firing rocks at your opponent. A racing game, the game mechanic is driving. We were kind of debating philosophically what the game mechanic of Grand Theft Auto is yesterday, and it's depending on how you look at it. It could be exploring, it could be leveling up your character, it could be running, walking, shooting. So there's a lot of ways to interpret it, but the basic idea, especially for a casual game, GTA is not the best example of casual, is that there's usually one really clear and hopefully very fun thing at the center of your game, and everything is built around that. So this lesson is mostly about how to create that game mechanic, but it's actually kind of secretly about a totally different topic because it's a really important part of making your game mechanic work, which is playtesting. So we'll get to that in just a second, but first, you know what? I said first, but no, this is first. I interrupted myself. The lesson starts with playtesting. I haven't looked at this in a few days. You guys will have to bear with me. The plan, as I call it, basically the plan of making a game is that the core game mechanic comes first, everything else comes second, and that's actually how you approach the playtesting, what do I want to call it? The playtesting routine or the playtesting process, I guess. So you see this simple diagram here. First, you try to put your game mechanic together, you test it, and then based on how that test goes, you have to decide, do I go back and make it better, or do I move on to the other features? And if that playtest doesn't go well, if you don't feel like you've got something really good in your hands, you're wasting your time if you move on to do the rest of the game. The most important thing is to say, okay, I put the game in front of somebody, maybe they didn't love it, maybe they were confused, that means I got to go back and make that part better. It doesn't mean make it prettier, it doesn't mean add features, it means that core gameplay mechanic has got to be improved. So I think this is something a lot of people do instinctively, but it's a very easy mistake to make when you feel like the game mechanic is good. Maybe you can rationalize why a playtest session didn't go so well, and then you just move ahead anyway. That's a really bad idea. I'm noticing we've got some of our resident experts in the audience. By the way, we've got DJam and Black Widow Inc., two of our best creators. DJam is a great example of how playtesting can turn a game that's good or maybe even just average into like an amazing game by taking feedback into account.
I'm curious on DJam's pipeline. Sorry for interrupting you.
No,
But
please,
one
go ahead.
day DJam would love to share his playtesting pipeline and its thought process between what makes sense when somebody tells me something or what I had in mind or what I disregard or what I learn from this feedback. I
Yeah.
think it would be like a fun article.
No, that would be amazing. And in fact, DJam did share an article to exactly that effect. We should share that again. Pika, I don't know if you know where the link is. And yeah, Jaeger just mentioned DJam did do an article. But what would be great, though, as Knox says, is DJam, you've done it actually before kind of informally, but maybe in the next week or two, if you have some time, it would be awesome for everyone to just hear it directly from you. So no pressure, but if you got some free time in the next couple weeks, let us know. Oh, there you go. As always, Pika, super quick with the links. By the way, I see a question from Moss in the audience. Alex, I have a question. Do you mind briefly explaining what was in lesson 1? So first of all, again, all the lessons are online, and we'll make sure you get the links. You can read them yourself. But lesson 1 is really, really simple. It's really just about getting in the right headspace to make a casual game. It breaks down the kind of game that tends to be most popular on Astrocade. So even though you're welcome to make whatever kind of game you want, lesson 1 is about saying, this is the level of depth and complexity that is usually most appropriate for Astrocade. So you kind of think, okay, I want to have like a really clear, simple idea, one primary game mechanic, and then maybe I build extra features around it, but I'm not going to try to make some giant 40-hour RPG with like 1,000 weapons and characters and all sorts of backstory. You can do that if you want. It's just usually not what Astrocade is best for. Yes, and I agree with Knox. The document that was just shared is very much worth a read. DJam is indeed goated. Okay, cool. Let's move on. So to demonstrate this, in this lesson, I created this tiny little example game that I call Balloon Buster. It was inspired by a painful memory of a childhood birthday party that I am not going to talk about, so please don't even ask, especially you, Mavi. I came up with this idea of a mechanic in which the player uses a slingshot to shoot rocks at colorful balloons. So here's what it looks like. And in fact, I think I can just play it live. So here was my Balloon Buster game. You'll notice this game is super, super simple. These are all kind of the default visuals that I got right out of Astra. I didn't put any special effects into it really. But the whole point is just to demonstrate one game mechanic, which is you pull, I guess I like slingshots because I've made multiple games. You pull the rock back, you kind of aim, and you try to hit as many balloons as you can. And that's it. You'll notice other than the score display, there's really nothing else going on screen. There's not even really like a background. It's just super simple, right? This is a great point at which you should start testing. So if you made a game and you sort of reached this level, which is hopefully pretty early on in the process, before you start thinking, oh, I can add a really cool background graphic, or I can add sound effects, like Toxic was talking about sound effects, I can add background music. Of course, you can do all those things, but before doing any of them, put this game in front of somebody else and see if they find it fun. Because if someone starts playing this and they're like, oh, this sucks, I hate it, like, why add the background music? There's no point, right? But if they like it, then you know you're adding something to a game that is going to probably go somewhere and reach more of an audience.
Where am
If
I?
if you get the "it sucks" feedback, try to change person that you're asking for feedback.
Exactly. Just keep putting it in front of someone until you find the person who agrees with you. It's just a
No,
great lesson.
no, that's not what I meant. I meant that ask the person to, tell you why. Why does it suck? Because it's not
Oh
gonna help
yeah,
you
okay.
out. It's not gonna help you out. It sucks. Okay, cool. What
No,
next?
that's actually a really good point. So in fact, Knox, you're definitely pointing us all in the right direction, because playtesting is not about getting just a sort of a flat response. It's not just about saying good, bad, like it, don't like it. It's about actually watching and experiencing the person kind of through their eyes, so that yes, they'll give you a summary. They may say I like it or I don't like it, but you're going to get a lot more out of actually just watching what they do without even trying to discuss it with them. Just observe. You're basically just a witness, right? So, speaking of which, that's a great segue into the next topic, which is what we call the Astrocade playtest protocol. Now, this is maybe too fancy a name, but I don't care. I think it's cool. So we're going to act like we're like a kind of novel pathogen research lab and say we have a playtest protocol that sounds very fancy. I like things that sound fancy, so you're just going to have to live with that. The beauty of play testing, though, is that you don't have to do it in person. If you do, I think it's kind of best to do it in person, because it's really easy to observe all the details of how somebody reacts to your game. You can look at body language, facial expression, but you don't have to do it that way. And in fact, one of the reasons we as a company love Discord is because Discord makes it really easy to do live play testing just through the internet. In fact, that's kind of what Office Hours is all about. We're doing it as a group today, but you'll notice, I think I pointed this out yesterday as well, we've got this other. Wait, do we still have it, Manvi? The test your game
Yeah.
channel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Discord is always like hiding and showing channel names. Anyway, somewhere, and people like Manvi and Nox and Toxic and Pika, who actually know how Discord works, they can show this to you. But we've got a channel that is just like, there you go, just like Astro Lounge, but it is called Playtest Your Game. And it's a place where you can grab anyone else in the Discord, meet them in that channel. They share their screen, you send them a link, and then you can watch them play your game step by step, detail for detail. So you don't just have to rely on them giving you a summary. Like, you don't just say, play my game and then tell me what you think. That's not terrible, but it's not the best way to play test. The best way to play test is to be there live and see every decision they make, every moment that they either enjoy or dislike, things that they understand or are confused by, blah, 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 blah. it's, it's exactly right. That is a great summary. I am on Discord. I use Discord every day, and I continually fail to use Discord. It's just one of those things in life.
Has
Okay, so
Discord, can't Discord.
exactly.
Perfect.
So I'm going to do a little more explanation, and then I'm going to show you guys some videos that I recorded of exactly this process in action. So whether you're doing it in person or doing it online, the general idea is the same, which is, this is kind of the most important thing: say nothing, right? Everybody has this tendency. It's totally natural, but it's the worst thing you can do, which is to explain your game while somebody's playing it, especially if they seem to be confused. It's really natural to jump in and say, oh no, just press that button, and then that makes whatever happen. Or go talk to the guy behind the house and he'll give you the item. But if you have to do that, that's a sign something is unclear about your game. And remember, you can tell your playtester everything you want to tell them. That's fine. But you cannot tell the million people that are going to play it online later on. You're not going to be there. So treat the playtester as an example of what a complete stranger on the other side of the planet will experience when they play your game. That's why it's so important that you don't help them. You can listen to their questions and definitely like take notes or record it or whatever, and you can explain everything you want afterwards if it's important to you. But in the moment while you're playtesting, you have to let them figure things out for themselves. That's how you learn the most about what works and what doesn't work about your game.
So you see, Nubu says, yes, but if you don't tell him small obvious things, he will skip 80% of your game and move on to another testing of another game.
And if by him they mean me, then yes, I'm a special case. Other people, I promise, will behave better than I do. I'm the worst. I'm what you call the worst case scenario. I don't pay attention to things. I don't read. But you know what? That's what a lot of actual game players do. So when your game is on Astrocade, just assume you get people like me, and let's be honest, kind of like Monvi, who play terribly, who don't read, who don't pay attention, are highly distracted. And all kidding aside, that is how most people play games. You know, you're not going to have someone in like a dark room giving you 100% of their focus. They're doom scrolling, they're talking to their friend, they're on a train, they're in class. So that kind of distraction is something you have to expect. Okay, so let's get on to some of these example videos. There's a lot more in this deck about the details of how to like do a test really properly. I think it's really worth reading over. It's mostly kind of common sense, but a lot of this common sense for testing is easy to forget, especially in the moment, especially if you're like really invested in somebody liking your game. It's very natural to kind of forget all this stuff and just talk to them and tell them what to do and hope that it goes well. But again, that's the worst way to play test. So I strongly advise try to read through it ahead of time. Go into your test with a plan. Go into that test knowing what you're going to do and what you're going to say. And that's how you get good information out of it. So, like I mentioned, I put this game, this little test balloon buster game, in front of 3 people: Olivia, Monvi, and Cap, who is one of our, I guess he's our founding Astrocade engineer. And Olivia designs user interfaces and is one of our product designers. So these are 3 different people with totally different skills and backgrounds and styles. So it's like 3 diverse, different kinds of opinions.
Can we play the sound?
Yeah, I'm going to play it in just a second. I was just gonna make sure we don't have any questions because I don't know how much of this is going to play. These videos are a few minutes long. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing. But again, like with the other slides, I think it's very much worth it to go in and listen to the whole thing because it's an example of the kind of stuff you can expect when you do your own playtesting. This, by the way, this GIF of Picard throwing the book out of the holodeck, this is a perfect summary of my approach. I really love Next Generation, and I don't like reading. So, combination. Okay, so let's play this first one. And guys, let me know if the sound is not working for whatever reason. I'm playing a video that's inside a Google slide deck, so just in case there's any weird technical issues. Fortunately, by the way, there's almost no real video. You're going to see the Olivia playing the game, but you already know what the game looks like, so it's really more about listening to what she's saying. And she's, by the way, she's a very good tester. She's really good because she does user testing for the actual Astrokit product, so she kind of knows what good testing looks and sounds like. And it basically means thinking out loud. Because if you play a game and you keep your thoughts to yourself, the person testing the game isn't going to learn that much. So make sure to remind people when you give them your game or if you give them a link to the game, say, please, like, err on the side of doing lots of talking. Kind of like me, just don't shut up, right? It's a really good way to get people's opinion to flow more naturally. If they don't know to do that, they might just forget to share anything, and then they're just silently playing the game, and it's much harder to learn that way. I love these. I guess I'm becoming the meme target for today, and I highly support that. All right, let's go.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just starting the game. Pull back the slingshot to aim. Cool. Oh, whoa. That's cool. I like the sound effects. Okay, so game mechanics seems like I'm just trying to shoot a whole bunch of balloons. I didn't read any instructions or anything and just went into gameplay. You popped 7 balloons. Nice. Okay, that doesn't seem like a lot. Trying to figure out what it means that the line is curving towards the end. Oh. Okay. That makes more sense. That's cool. That makes it seem like I know what now I feel like I get what the little, oh. I don't think I'm very good at this. I wonder if there's a difference between the colors of balloons or whether it's kind of like that little game with the slider along the bottom where you can hit different obstacles.
Okay, so you get the idea, right? That's about a minute of the video, and it goes on for another minute or 2. So what you'll notice is that she was brand new to the game, and even though it was all very obvious to me because I made the game, it took her, I don't know, 5-10 seconds to figure out the point of the game is to pull back the slingshot, fire the rock, and hit the balloons. These are the kind of things that these are the kind of things that you don't realize are obvious until you put the game in front of somebody else. Things that you think are super crystal clear suddenly become much more complicated when a person with no experience with your game sees your game. So that was a really important thing to learn, because even though I wasn't super worried about the game being complicated, it still wasn't obvious to me that for that first few seconds, people don't necessarily know what to do. So do I want to add some kind of onboarding, some kind of gesture to say tap and drag? Maybe. That's something I can now think about because I've got this feedback. Okay, the next one is Manvi, and I'm just going to play the beginning because she makes a really important point that comes up in the third test subject as well, and it's an example of how you can see patterns. So let's play this one.
Cool. Okay. So I'm playing Balloon Busters. Cool. So I should pop some balloons, I'm guessing. Okay. You popped 2 balloons. That came up way too late. I was gonna pop more balloons. I thought I was just gonna keep popping. Like, this is too much of a wait time. I thought there'll be like more and I can keep popping them, but that's fine. I got it. Is it like the most number of balloons I can pop? Oh, maybe. You pop 6 balloons. Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so 2 important notes from this. One is, notice that things about the timing of the game suddenly became much more obvious to me as the creator listening to Manvi's feedback. So she was confused by the fact that it took a few seconds for the score to pop up, because during that time she thought that she could keep playing, which tells me something about the game. Like, maybe I want that score to pop up sooner, or maybe I should do what she suggested, which is let you shoot multiple rocks. Those are both good interpretations of that. She also didn't even know what the point of the game was, because the game doesn't make that clear. It's like, is she trying to avoid the balloons, trying to hit the balloons, trying to hit the rocks? These are things that may seem obvious to you as the creator, but to the player, it's like, no idea, right? So that was Manvi's test, and then I'll just play a minute of Cap, our last playtester, and you'll notice that he mentions something very similar to what Manvi said.
Okay, load up the game. This is Balloon Buster by Alex. Okay, so it looks like I have a slingshot here that I'm pulling back. I like the aim lines. I feel like that's pretty cool. Looks like some balloons have also. Oh, I see. Okay, so there was a small delay there. I feel like I expected something to appear a little bit sooner. But I popped 9 balloons. Cool.
By the way, someone just noticed. I had never noticed this. Everyone is test subject 1. Oops, sorry guys. Yes, I should have warned everyone there was a British accent incoming. Sorry if the content warning was too late. So you'll notice that what Cap said was basically the same thing Manvi said, which was there was this long delay before the score display appears, during which time I have now seen 2 different playtesters confused, right? So to me, that's almost like an obvious, like irrefutable sign that the pacing of the game needs some work, because people are totally thrown off by that delay. And during that time, they think they're either supposed to be doing something, or the game is frozen, or something like that. So that's a great example of something that just, I hadn't really stopped to think about it when I made the game, but the moment I heard 2 different people say it, it became super obvious. So the result is I now have really good information to base changes to the game on. Now, everyone seemed to more or less like it. Like, the idea of popping the balloons was fine. So I don't think I need to change the concept. I don't need to start over, but I've definitely got some good ideas of how to make the game better. And this is kind of the way I like to sum it up, which is, you don't have to do everything your test players suggest, but you have to consider it, right? So at the end of the day, it's your game, and you should do whatever you think is best for your game. But you do at least have to consider what those people say. If you just ignore it, you're really only just doing yourself a disservice. So there's a little bit more to this lesson. I recommend everyone read it. I think for now, I'll probably cut it off here because the most important thing is playtesting. Maybe we'll talk more about this lesson next week. But questions, Q&A.
Yes, I have a question for you. Do you have an example of the feedback that you took for this game and applied it? So do you have like a current version of the game where you
I
actually
do.
took that?
Yeah, and in fact, so the next, I think the next lesson is about like adding juice and polish, and that same lesson kind of revisits this game where some of my feedback or some of the feedback I got was taken into account. So we'll probably maybe cover that maybe next week when we get to it. But you can imagine one of the first things I did is I slowed down that delay so that when you pull the slingshot back and hit the balloons, the score thing pops up almost immediately. So it's mostly stuff you would expect. And then I think I also played around with some of the difficulty, but I think I'll save that for the next lesson. It's a good question, though. Nazmul has me figured out. I actually was planning on erasing all of those videos and just claiming that everyone loved the game exactly as it was.
A question, Alex. Is there
What's up?
any, has it come to your sometimes that you're like, you know what, I don't necessarily agree with this feedback because I
Yes.
don't want to go in this direction. So what do you do with that usually?
That's a great question. So that's really what this kind of I guess quote here is about, which is you don't have to do everything that your test subjects suggest is worth changing because some of it is just a matter of opinion, right? Here's the way I think about it. Anything that has to do with clarity, especially if you see it in more than one person's, there's a pattern. My advice is always change that. So if someone's confused, they didn't know where to go, they didn't know what to tap, to me, that's not really like a creative thing most of the time. That's just a question of understanding. If your players don't understand your game, that just sucks. But there's other stuff where it's like, oh, I don't like this color, I don't like this effect, I think this is maybe too difficult or something. And if that's what you're going for, if you want to make a game that has a certain look or a certain difficulty or a certain complexity, and you really believe in that, then, and I know I kind of said it as a joke earlier, but it might actually mean that you just need to find different people for that game because not every audience likes every game. It's like music or anything else, right? You can make amazing music, but some people just don't like that genre. And so if they don't like the music you made, regardless of the skill or the quality, it's not necessarily helpful feedback if they say, I just don't like this style of music, so change it, right? But if they say something like, the volume is too low, I can't hear it, that's different. That's just a sign that you're not getting your idea across. So to me, it's like if you can describe something as a creative choice versus like just a technical issue of understanding or accessibility, that to me is the division between whether you should definitely change it or whether it's up to you to decide if you want to change it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. We as creators all have our own ego as well. And, you know, we all have our own idea of what we want to make. So it's important when we get feedback to understand the why behind why this person told me this before doing
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly. Oh, and by the way, I'll just let me. I kind of skipped over this, but let me share this. So after each one of these videos, I made one of these little notes that summarizes with bullet points basically what people liked or didn't like. Like Olivia likes the sound effects. She seems to understand everything. Wasn't immediately sure what the curved trajectory line meant, but figured it out. So what I did by having these kind of summaries of each playtest session, you can then look at this and say, do I see patterns? Like multiple people said that delay before the score appeared was confusing. That seems like a really good idea to change it. But then I think somebody said that they had a little bit of trouble like understanding how to use those floating blocks. Let me show you guys here. Like, is this like something I'm supposed to avoid or whatever? And I thought there was some kind of fun strategy of how you use those blocks. So my attitude was, even if some people found it frustrating that the balloon or that the rock was hit by those blocks, I think that's part of the challenge of the game. So I didn't necessarily interpret that as a bad thing. Like sometimes a player can be frustrated, and that can be part of the game. Sometimes the emotion of frustration is part of the experience of playing something. So to me, the difference is, are you frustrated because you were trying really hard and you just couldn't quite accomplish something and you failed? Or are you frustrated because the game is like broken and is just impossible to play right? So understanding the difference between how someone reacts to something is an important part of knowing what to do with the feedback. And in this case, I decided, yeah, I don't think I need to change the blocks. I might finesse them, but I'm not going to like remove them entirely, even if a playtester seemed like they kind of wanted me to do that.
I agree. I would say that it's more of like an average. What's the average player say is the issue? And if you can kind of get a consensus of which is the most common complaint, I think that's going to be your better feedback. I often give feedback, you know, I think you should change this and I think you should change that. And it doesn't always necessarily mean that you need to change that. Maybe my opinion doesn't match the other people's opinion. And it's best to go with, I would say, the average opinion. So most people were saying, you know, the end of the game pop-up, you know, is delayed, and I feel like it's, you know, causing stutters, or I feel like it's freezing. And you're getting that from a few people. It's pretty safe to say that I probably need to change that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. By the way, Andre is here. Andre is one of our developers who's actually building the product every day. So if anyone's got any questions about the product, feel free to ask. It looks like Nazmul has a question. Why don't we let Nazmul take the stage for a minute?
Sorry, I have a question for you, not Andre. The question is like, how should we select the playtesters? Like, we should select, like right now, the playtesters are creators here. So most of the creators know how to play games. So it's not like actual playtesting, because most of the other players that those are playing your games are like casual players, and they don't. Most of them don't know how to play games or how to play your game. So like, how
That's
should we
I
get the
would
playtesters?
I
That's a
would
really
say
good question, by the way. Just it sounds like a subtle thing, but it's really important to remember that some people are almost kind of like call them something like they're not professional gamers necessarily, but if you're like a really passionate, committed gamer, you probably have a baseline of understanding that a more casual person maybe doesn't have because you've played enough games, you've seen enough of the patterns, you kind of know what they look like, how they feel. So that's a very good point. Sorry, Toxie, you were going to say something.
Oh, no, you're good. To what he was asking, walk into the kitchen when your mom's doing, dishes, or if she's watching TV and say, "Hey, mom, check this game out. What do you think?" Or while you're at work at your real life job, hand it to one of your coworkers and, and say, "Hey, can you play my game for me?" And then just kind of watch the reaction. Do they look confused? Does something look like, they're not understanding it? And then get some feedback from somebody that don't normally play games every day. It's a
That's
I got
perspective
something.
that we don't normally tap into. So
That's exactly
Oh,
right.
yeah, I want
Um,
to add to that real quick. We had some feedback. Sometimes people wondering, why their highly polished game didn't make it at the top of Game Jam, for instance. And one thing to keep in mind is we do kind of focus on the casual player perspective on things. So if you're like a game dev veteran, you might be a little biased. The games might be easier to understand, to know how to play. Maybe what you find fun changes. So to Toxic's point, sort of more casual players, not necessarily game developers, is the ideal playtest.
yeah.
Nazmo, I think that
So
some devs on AstroKid are also the target audience of being casual players. Not all devs here are actual players, so don't hesitate to reach out to everyone here. I think that you'd be surprised.
yeah. So here comes my another question, and it's for Andrew. Like, so because this is a problem, like to test games. So in near future or maybe later on, can we get something like this where like we can without publishing our game, we can just do the playtesting in the feed and then get feedback?
That's a really good idea, actually. We don't have it on the roadmap right now, but I think yeah, playtest essentially functions for us as a way to get user feedback and evaluation of how much players like it. We may explore the idea of like even sending it to playtest before publishing so you can polish it and see how people like it and so on.
Yeah, right now, like it takes like few days to get the review, get the game reviewed, and like after seeing the playtest fail, we already know that the game will fail eventually. So like it will be better if we get that result before like publishing. Then we can just polish the game more.
Yeah, that's good. I'll keep it in mind and bring it up to the team.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Nazmo. All right, so let's see if anyone else has any questions. We are happy to answer them. If not, I think it's time to jump into some playtesting. Looks like we got a lot of games in the queue.
I
Oh, we
see
got
a question from Daniela that I'll jump in on. So it's about how do you train the AI? Lots of game ideas. On other platforms have been developed, but 90% of the prompts I put into Astrocade fail and look ugly or AI slop. The AI sometimes ignored my responses or responded incorrectly. So a couple things. One is I think um, talking to other creators probably helps. I know some people have developed ways of prompting the AI via like mega prompts. Maybe Erica can help here that tend to get better results, especially on your first wish. The second thing I'll say, basically, the more specific you are to the AI, the better it is. It does have some issues about resolving ambiguity and not doing exactly what you want unless you're pretty clear. We have some improvements for that we're working on that I'll probably announce soon that might also help the AI be better about doing what you ask for and not result in bad outputs so much as it does right now.
Cool.
And belittle, another quick question, does AI update regularly? We update the models as they come out. So we are also going to be updating to a newer AI model shortly. It might already be being tested, which would actually also improve results quite a bit.
Is that the new Opus?
Yeah, well, we are not on the newest Opus due to infrastructure and cost and so on, but it is a newer Opus than the one
Yeah.
we were using.
Excellent. I love Opus.
Cool. How about this? Why don't we? Oh, actually, you know what? Though I see a question from DJ about the survey. Why don't we cover that? Because that is an important topic right now.
It is, yes. I'm not sure what restitution means, but I assume it means some kind of response. We have looked at the survey. There's been a very useful amount of feedback, and it's very good to see what people are most interested in. We will make a public post at some point about the conclusions and what will and
Cool. And by the way, for anyone that missed it, we did a survey for to kind of collect feedback from different creators about the product features that you're looking for the most. And the reason we do that is we just want to make sure that everything we add is stuff that we know you guys are going to find useful. So we don't necessarily, we can't promise to do every single thing people ask for. It's kind of like the playtesting topic we were saying earlier. But your input and the things you say you guys either like or don't like is always kind of one of the core things that drives how we build the product. So thanks
If I
as
may.
always.
What is the number one requested feature by creators right now on the platform?
it depends on how you look at the numbers. So there's smaller features and there's bigger features in my mind, right? And these are slightly categorically different. As far as bigger features, multiplayer and 3D assets are seems to be what people most want. As far as kind of quality of life improvements, generally, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly what was the top one, but things like being able to correct the genre that your game is assigned to publish without overwriting or deleting leaderboards, some of those kinds of things. So we'll be doing a mix of kind of these quality of life, smaller things that will just put away a lot of annoyances. And we'll be working on some of the bigger requests like multiplayer.
What about
Awesome.
landscape mode?
Landscape mode is controversial because that has to do with sort of a product definition and the nature of Astrocade. So a major part of it is having a swipe feed. And if you go landscape, that kind of complicates the picture a bit. So it is highly requested, but I will be more careful about making promises there because even if creators want it, we may want to be careful about whether we want Astrocade to be sort of a mix of portrait and landscape, or if we should prioritize portrait just from a product perspective.
Yeah, and by the way, I see someone in their comments said they already made a landscape game. My favorite thing about the community is that whatever Astrocade can or can't do, somebody will find a way to just make it do it anyway. Like, we don't support multiplayer, but people make multiplayer games. We don't support landscape, but people make landscape games. So on some level, I almost kind of want to withhold all features just to watch you guys hack your way through it because it's awesome. But yes, to Andre's point, we want to make sure that when we actually do officially add a product feature, it's not just a direct response to someone saying they want it. It also takes everything else about the product into account. And so, unfortunately, I know it makes things more complicated. Sometimes something that seems like a really easy or really useful thing, it might take longer than you think because it affects something else in sometimes subtle but important ways. And landscape is probably the best example of that because on paper, it's like, what's the big deal? Just flip your phone. But there's a lot about our product that was designed with a certain form factor in mind. So all these things are under continual discussion. We really want to make sure we deliver everything you guys care about, but we just want to take our time and do it right.
One other thing I'll say real quick. Personally, I would love to have landscape. So it's like I want it as well. and we'll definitely have it eventually, because the goal for Astrocade eventually is just to encompass and support as many game types as possible. So it's more of a question of prioritization. To really roll out landscape carefully, we need to make sure the AI is well configured. The UI of the product itself needs to take into account. So we probably will prioritize things like multiplayer first before going landscape.
Exactly.
But if you want to cheat, it does look very possible to make the AI make landscape games as is.
Yep. And we don't want to tell you guys to cheat and break and hack, but we're not telling you to do that. So interpret that however you want. All right. How about this? Why don't we get a couple of the game test or play tests going, and then you guys keep asking your questions, and maybe we'll just split the time between play testing and Q&A.
I think, yeah, also we will have AMA again on Monday. So
Oh, that's right. Yes, I
if
forgot all about
you write down your questions, we'll get through a bunch on Monday.
High quality asked, how high up is the collab feature? Because I do know a lot of people do want to work together on projects. And I think that is kind of common in the industry where you have a group of people that kind of all work on one project. And so I'm kind of interested in that as well. And I'm sure there's quite a few other people that would be interested in hearing where that's
Yeah.
at, or if that's a.
We've seen a lot of interest in it. It is a bit more tricky, again, less from technical perspective, but from product. Like if you do collab and for assigning kind of payouts, right? How does that work? So the version we are considering right now is a not sort of direct collab, but giving remix permissions, so that if you have a creator you want to work with, you can sort of remix each other's games and help work on it. But yeah, we need to think about how we can do that within the product in a way that kind of makes sense and think through all the implications. So again, that's a bit trickier, and we do know that people want it, but we'll have to think through how to do it in a kind of good way.
Cool. Thanks, guys, and thanks, Andre. All right, let's get the first game in the queue underway. This is a game from yesterday. This is Nova Strike from Astro X Play, and you'll notice it is Nova Strike featuring Astrocade creators. There's some fun cameos in this game. I actually probably shouldn't play this because I played it yesterday, but I've already got it loaded up, so let's just do it. Nova Strike, Defend the Galaxy. So I mentioned yesterday what I liked about this. We were talking a lot about game mechanics yesterday. That was kind of the main theme of the conversation. And this is a great example of a classic game mechanic. You just move around while the game auto shoots for you. So the whole game really is just kind of maneuvering and then trying to collect power-ups and stuff. What's great about a game mechanic like this is that it doesn't really require explanation. Most people are going to pretty much figure this out. The question earlier, I think Nosmal asked about like, is there a difference between playtesting of like seasoned gamers versus more casual gamers? And the answer, of course, is yes. But I also like to think that for games like this, there isn't that much of a difference. I think almost anybody, once they just start moving the ship around, will pretty much figure it out. So I'm a big fan of super simple stuff like this. And because the game mechanic is pretty straightforward, the creator has all this freedom to add all this super fun juice and detail, like that amazing, boss sequence and all this just cool polish, ability unlocked, neon pulse. It's amazing, right? And I think part of the reason the creator can do this is because the core game is really straightforward. It's kind of hard to mess it up, so they can instead focus on just making it look and sound really cool. Jeez, look at this. It's like I became the boss. Oh, that's awesome. This has evolved a lot since yesterday. I do still have the same feedback, though, which is I just think it's probably way too easy. It looks really good, and it is fun. I enjoy just running around, just destroying everything. But a little bit more challenge might be useful. I think I killed that boss in like half a second. So that's maybe something I would adjust. But I also think I'm noticing like a little rotation, like a tilt on the enemies that I don't remember seeing yesterday. That's a cool effect. But this game has just so much going for it in terms of detail. Momoko is back. The terrifying Momoko is here to destroy us all with her pink and lavender maliciousness. I really am. I'm just complaining it's too easy, and I died. Game over. So mixed messages. But like I said, love the game, love the style. I really just want to see a little bit more I guess, nuance in the difficulty. Like, it's great that it starts off easy. I think that's awesome. Maybe it could ramp up in a slightly different way, like more gradual difficulty. For me, it kind of went from really easy to really hard, but that's one person's feedback. So when it comes to things like difficulty, it's actually almost more dangerous to just test with one person, because that one person could have any level of difficulty appetite. Like, some people love really challenging games, some people hate them. But if you don't play test your game with at least 2 or 3 people, it's going to be really hard to see what is the actual average. Toxic mentioned trying to kind of average things together, and that's hard to do with one person. So I think my feedback on kind of look and feel is one thing. That's something I think it's worth considering. But my feedback on difficulty is kind of not that useful until you compare it to, say, 2 or 3 other people, and then you find out: am I typical? Am I an outlier? Do you want to listen to me, or do you want to just listen to the average?
Alex,
Hey,
do you have any
Alex.
tips on? Oh,
Yep.
go ahead.
Sorry.
You want to go,
Good.
Toxic?
Yeah. Do you have any tips on scaling of difficulty? Because even myself, I actually do struggle with scaling of difficulty. Do you have any suggestions on how people can do that? Because I often see too in other people's games they have the same issue, kind of with scaling. It's either too hard, or it's too easy, or it's not gradual enough leading up to a stronger event.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have 2 thoughts on it. And also, anyone that's got access to the lessons, sorry, I am fascinated by this rapidly evolving meme of one thing I said that is turning into 1,000 other things that I may have potentially said. Okay, sorry. So one of the lessons, it's maybe lesson 6 or something, is all about progression, and that includes how to balance game difficulty. But I can sum it up with 2 ideas. The first thing is you have to define, what do you even mean by difficulty? So let's take this game as an example, right? So there's probably a few different ways you could decide what difficulty means. One thing is, like, how easily is my ship destroyed, right? Like, do I have like 1,000 hit points, or do I die when anything hits me? And then likewise, you can also define difficulty as how strong the enemies are. Like, you can see these guys are all getting mowed down with one shot, but you can imagine if they all took 4 shots, then it would, I guess, technically be about 4 times more difficult. And then there's things like how fast do they move, how many are spawned. So you can kind of make a list of a few things and say, this is what I mean when I say difficulty. Because it's really confusing if you just throw the word difficulty around but you don't define it. Like, what does difficulty mean? It's got to mean something. So the first thing is make that list, right? And then you decide, how do these things change over time? So let's pick one example. Let's just say how many HP the boss has, right? And so say I have 10 levels, 10 bosses. The first boss has 100 HP. The question then becomes, is how much does that change? Does the next boss have 200 HP? Do they have 500 HP? Do they have 1,000 HP? Like, that question basically determines how the difficulty of the game scales. And what we talk about in that lesson is there's a pattern that is really common in games. It's called the sawtooth. And the sawtooth basically means you go up at an angle and then you go back down. Then you go up at an angle and you go back down. And the reason you go back down is it's like you take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and then 2 steps forward and 1 step back again. And it's like a cool down period. So you might make the games get more difficult, and then give the player a break and let the game get a little bit easier for a minute, and then go back to getting more difficult. And the reason that you do that is it's like a rhythm. It's like a sense of, like, not overwhelming or exhausting the player, but keeping them feeling the progression of the difficulty. So that's a little bit hand wavy. I probably didn't explain that great, but it's laid out visually in the lesson, so I advise everyone to check it out. But that's basically how I think about difficulty and progression.
I'm just going to throw a curveball to Ashif, something that you didn't mention. Sometimes as developers, when we make games, we want to do X, Y, and Z. But clearly, when I look at Ashif's game, he has a passion for boss battles. So what I'm wondering is it worth spending time polishing the in-between boss battles, or should he just consider maybe a different way of giving power-ups to the player and just focus on boss battles, and it's a boss battle game?
That's a really interesting idea. Sorry, was your question about difficulty, or is it just about, as you design the game, like, what part of the game do you focus on?
No question. It's just feedback for Ashif.
I see. So no, that's a really good point. And so, getting back to the idea of game mechanic, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. One is that no matter who you're fighting, the game mechanic is moving around and shooting. That's like the part that doesn't really change. But you raise a really interesting point, which is a big part of the experience of the game is like who you're shooting at. Am I just shooting at the grunts, the random enemies, or am I shooting at the big boss at the end of the level? And like, what if you made a game that was just like, oops, all bosses, right? I think that's a really cool idea. So to me, that the great thing about that question is it's like a totally creative question. There's not like a right or wrong answer. You don't even necessarily need playtesting for that. That's just like, are you creatively interested in that as the creator? And if you're interested in that, you should probably explore it because games tend to be better when the thing you're focusing on in the game is something that you personally think is really cool, as opposed to adding features just because you think other people are going to want them. So if like your passion is I love crazy boss battles, yeah, I kind of like that idea of saying, you know what, I'm going to make my whole game bosses just because that's my passion. And I think if you really put your effort into something you love, when people play it, they're going to sense that. They're going to pick up on the fact that this is something you love to do instead of just something you thought you kind of had to do out of obligation.
Black Widow has a very good point. He said that on Astro, casual games thrive. Games that are too complicated don't seem to do well. So that's something to consider as well.
He then goes on to say, that being said, sometimes players really connect with things that we don't expect. I'm not sure about your question about not great assets in some AI slop. Games should always look their best. So what I get out of that, which is a good point, is that yes, kind of if you have to sum it all up, casual games generally do better than complicated games. That much is true. But if you look at what's on the player's choice row, what's both exciting and kind of frustrating is that there's not like a really clear formula, right? Like every now and then a game that seems kind of complicated makes it just blows up, and it's like right next to a game where you're just using your finger to color in a flag or something, you know? Like it's amazing how we'll have really complicated and really simple games side by side that are both super popular. So the general advice is err on the side of casual. But if you're just like dying to make a more complicated game, if like I mentioned, if that's your passion, at the end of the day, you should probably do what you're passionate about instead of doing what you think is like the fast track to being successful. And that's just a personal call. Okay, I will do one more, and then Manvi, what do you think? Do you want to play one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right, I'm going to do Nomad Sky. Is this like a little kind of clever take on No Man's Sky? I wonder. Explore an
Also,
alien.
one thing is, I think for Astro Academy, we're gonna first prioritize the new students.
Oh, that's right. God, I am the worst at following my own rules. Sorry, Manvi.
That's okay. But yeah, we're gonna prioritize the new students. Yes, Johan, you are a new student here. So yeah, and then we can get to the previous batches games as well.
Great point. Very, very good point. All right. Well, it's too late though. I'm excited about this game. I want to check it out. So then after this, I promise we'll start following rules. Maybe. Ooh, look at this. This is very, very cool. So this is kind of like a No Man's Sky kind of thing, I think. So I love the look of this game. Whoa! Look at this. Look at this. This is like a legit whole like procedural Minecraft voxel universe. This is pretty incredible. I do have some questions about how well this is going to run on like a low-end phone maybe, but wow, this is very impressively big and detailed. So by the way, here I am just talking about how important it is to make your games casual, but some people do their own thing, and casual or not, I mean, this is pretty awesome. Can I go down there, I wonder? I can.
You can.
Wow.
But I would go back up to the top because the ship is a bit more impressive.
Ooh.
The first couple minutes that I
okay.
played this game, I was like, I don't think so. And then I happened to jump in the old ship. And then I was like, whoa.
All right. All right.
Okay, I do think that this does qualify. So you'll be in for a treat when you see that and you realize.
I think the ship is up here. Let's check it out. Where was it?
I think you
I
just
might
restart.
I might just restart it to make it easy. Yeah. Okay. So we have seen there is this huge, amazing voxel landscape, but Toxic is saying check out the ship. I will say, minor note, there's a cool day-night cycle. That's always a cool effect. Personally, I think it might make more sense for it to start during the day because the game started and it was a little bit hard to see things until the sun comes up. So maybe just flip that around so their first exposure is a little bit clearer. It's a very minor note. Okay, now Toxic, don't help me. Let me see if I can figure out how to get into the ship. Because if I can't, that might be something to think about. It says press tab to access upgrades. I don't really consider that the same as going into the ship. Press E to collect. Oh, E to enter ship. Okay, there we go. Ooh, look at this. I not just entered the ship, I've become the ship. Yeah, I mean, God, this is crazy how much
Hold,
scale there is here.
hold spacebar. Just keep holding it. So I don't want
Wow.
to tell you how to play, but
No, it's fine. It's like sometimes it's just cool. Okay, so jeez, this is why this definitely belongs in the game jam. Maybe too much, like maybe too much scale, like literally like astronomical, all the way down to like walking on terrain. How amazing is this? This is super cool. So this probably is a little too big a game though to do some concise play testing. We mentioned yesterday we're trying to turn over a new leaf and get through more games, so I don't think we'll have time to give this game kind of what it's due. But man, this is such an awesome start, and I highly recommend everybody check this out. Although I'm not sure what happened there. I think I
yeah, that
entered.
happened to me too.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a work in
So
progress, I believe you said.
all right, so we've got some quick feedback, which is whatever just happened. Maybe look into that. But everything else is incredible. This is so cool. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Okay, let's see what's next on the list. Manvi, if you want to play one, maybe you can do the next one. I think it is. Oh, you know what? It's Erica's game. I got it. Sorry, I got to play Erica's pet poisoning murder game, and then after that, Manvi, you can do Diet Dash. How about that?
I actually do have to take off. It's 11:30.
All right, fair enough. We'll see you guys next week. I'm sticking around, of course, but Manvi will be back on next Wednesday, right? No, Monday for AMA, right?
I'll be there for AMA.
Cool. All
All
right.
right.
Hi,
Bye.
Molly.
Okay, so last we checked in on Erica's game. It was a little bit confusing, but that was okay because the confusion kind of obscured the fact that you were killing cute animals. Let's see if she's made the murder of this game more clear. Ooh, wow, she's really taken the feedback of making it look like it kind of takes place in an environment. So we're in a house now. Step one, drag the fish to the cat. Okay, got it. Now drag the carrot to the cat. Okay, so the cat didn't love that. Drag the cookie to any pets, and I guess it makes all the pets happy. Step four, feed all pets and explode. Well, we're still doing it. We're still making pets explode. But I do feel like this is a much simpler tutorial than it was, so that's good. And I guess they're happy. Oh wait, no, I was gonna say they're happy and then they just, change size. But no, they blow up. I'm not sure why that said Barbie. I may have missed the Barbie tie-in there.
So I've given a lot of feedback too on this. Some of the aspect ratios when they change are a little bit off.
Yeah,
Your bugs are still kind of facing the wrong direction, but going the opposite. I would also get rid of that Barbie thing as we talked about because I don't think that
what
has
does that
anything to do with the game.
mean? Yeah, Erica, what's the Barbie story? What's that all about? Oh, wait, is she on stage?
She's able
So
to
I
speak.
told the game to be Barbie themed, so I wanted to keep like that. They were supposed to be Barbie themed images, but they didn't come out too good. And the egg, I was trying to regenerate that before the office hours. It didn't work, and the bugs just won't come correctly for me.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, but I think we're at a point now where it's definitely much improved. So yeah, I agree with Toxic. The Barbie thing makes no sense, but I think that's simple enough to change. God, the bugs are creepy though. You've got cute animals, then you got creepy bugs. But what I really like though is that the gameplay has been simplified. Last time I played it, it felt like there were just way too many steps, too many details. It makes more sense now. I still got to say though, I wonder though, like we've got the falling food items and we have these like kind of bug things. It's still, just as a casual player, I'm trying to kind of, really what I said earlier, I'm trying to kind of channel the sort of the distraction that a lot of players have. People, they might pay close attention, they might not. And I still don't know if it's super clear to me what my goal is. Like, I definitely understand I'm supposed to feed the pets, but I don't know if it's totally clear why there are also these creepy bugs crawling down the screen. So, for instance, you can imagine if the whole point of the game was to just grab the right food and feed the pets, that alone would kind of work. Like that would be a clear, simple game right there. The fact that the bugs are also here almost kind of feels like there's two different things going on at once. And so
Mhm.
there may be a better purpose for the bugs that I'm just still not totally getting. So I think there's one of two things. One is maybe make it just a little bit clearer. Maybe there's a little bit more to the tutorial about that. I think I might have skipped it, but again, I think a lot of players might do that. Or the other one is maybe just focus on one or the other. Like maybe it's just a feeding thing, and the hazard is you want to make sure the wrong food doesn't reach them. And so that's
I did do that before with because this was originally a different game because I had I had a similar feeding game, and then I
uh-huh.
tried showing this to Pika, and Pika's like, "Oh, do you like?" Because this was like a basic game. He's like, "Oh, don't you want to make a game that feels great for the game jam?" So I tried to make a game where you have to. Oh yeah, so there's that tutorial with the shields where you maybe kill the bugs instead. But I could go back to where maybe I just feed different animals like the one I previously did.
Well, if the game jam is about scale, I think you've got changing size either way because the pets
Hmm.
get bigger, then they blow up, they get smaller. So I think you've already qualified. The question is just, do you want a simpler and more obvious kind of game mechanic, or do you want one that maybe is more complicated, but that requires perhaps more explanation? I mean, everyone's gonna have different ideas. Pika's gonna have one perspective. I'm gonna have another perspective. I feel like I tend to err on the side of like keeping things really focused and simple. And for me, this
Hmm.
is still not super clear, but the feeding part is very clear. And so that's a reason why maybe it's best to stick to that. But maybe you get a third playtester to be a tiebreaker. Like for instance, Toxic. What's your opinion on all this? I know you've been in the loop on this game.
Um, honestly, I didn't realize that it was excuse the whole music in the background. Anyways, uh, I didn't know this was the size and scale jam. I didn't realize that this is what this is for. And personally, I don't see it too much with it, except now I kind of realize that you're using the scale of feeding them to get larger. So it makes a little bit more sense to me. So I think maybe this could be interpreted size and scale. But I do think there's a lot going on, and I do think seeing how the stuff falls from the top that you got to feed the animals, and the enemies come from the top. It's kind of confusing on what the
Hmm.
objective is. Am I feeding them to make them happy, to make them explode, or am I trying to prevent these spiders and cockroaches from coming down and eating my characters or something? So I think it
Exactly.
just needs to be a little bit more clear on what the objective of the game is.
Mm. I could probably take away, I guess, the animals because they're getting a little bit not the animals, I mean the bugs. They're getting hard to animating to work. But then, how could I guess improve this for size and scale? Like, do I need
Well,
to
I
add
What
more?
I would do first is like kind of what I said last time is you have
Mm.
multiple mechanics going on. Maybe you have too many. So
Hmm.
let's remove the bugs and play the game how it is without the bugs, and let's see if it's still fun. And if it's still fun, then well, you never needed the bugs to begin with, then we can work on more of the feeding mechanic part.
Hmm.
That's where I would go. That's where I would start. If you don't like it without the bugs, you can always revert to changes, right?
Because I did this game before without the bugs, and I ended up getting like I guess over a minute playtime with like a couple hundred thousand, I guess 100,000 views. It was like a regular one, but I had a lot of different more animals. I don't know if I could put all those animals in here because they weren't animated, but I did a similar one and did decent.
Well, it sounds to me like people like the animals and they
Hmm.
don't really seem to care too much about the bugs. And I don't think the bugs have
Yeah.
anything to do with size and scale in those games. So I would honestly just remove them and see how much fun it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my take is I definitely agree. I think simplifying it would be great. If you want to make it feel a little bit more obviously like size and scale, maybe you just make them get even bigger. Like it might be kind of funny if they
Hmm.
just keep growing, you know? Like it just might be a little bit too subtle. And then personally, this is just my opinion. You can totally ignore this. I don't know if I love the blowing up thing, and partially because it's kind of confusing. I think I've like destroyed the pet and then they pop up again. So I
Hmm.
wonder if they get really, really big and then like like maybe we don't need pooping, but like they kind of go back to normal. You know what I mean? Like
What
the
if
thing
they
about
like fly
food,
off the screen and then they come back down again, like a
sure,
balloon?
something like that. Yeah, it's just
Balloon.
something a little more kind of cartoony and fun. And honestly, the reason I think the blowing up thing is just it's like it sends the message to the player that you've either killed them or you've done something wrong. But it sounds like
Hmm.
that's the point. So I think it might just be a little bit clearer if maybe they just seem like they're very satisfied, like you fed them and then they shrink back down and they start getting hungry again. Like it's kind of like a loop.
Hmm.
That might be something to think about.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. All right. How about this? Toxic, what do you think about the next one? You can play, what do we got? Oh, the next one I guess is Diet Dash.
Oh, okay. Well, this is from Dom. Let me get my screen going. Can I have access, please?
Oh yeah, sorry. 1 second.
Wow, I can tell the animations already are pretty good. All right, Diet Dash. Okay. Okay, so I'm assuming I need to eat the healthy things to stay thin, and the not so healthy things to get big. So, broccoli, tomatoes, oh, is there any benefit to being larger?
You mean
Oh,
in
cool,
life
that's
or in
cool.
this game?
So I really love the animations. I was able to jump right in, and I didn't really need a tutorial.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in the toilet, so don't mind the echo. I just wanted to say for the goal of this game
But I don't
is
see like a distance meter or anything.
so
Does
basically
this
the
go as
goal.
far as you can get on? Okay, okay, so it's just not showing up at the top of the screen.
All right, Toxic, can you hear? It sounds like we've got the creator on the stage. Can you hear them?
Yeah. Hi. So
I'll
I
be
just
muted
want to.
though.
Oh, sorry.
I don't hear Dom.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dom is also speaking.
You say
That's
something, Dom?
Oh yes.
There
I
you are.
just want to say what's the goal of the game because it's pretty much I didn't like a few hours ago. So basically, the goal is to be as skinny as possible, and at the end, there will be like the runaway will not be endless. There will be like a 20-second runaway, and then you will have times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5 multiplicator, and based on how skinny you are. By the way, it's not body shaming because it already is like pretty much existing, but I want to do it on my own. So if you're as the more you're skinny, the more points you get, and after you can evolve, you can buy new, you know, characters and etc. And you can do upgrades.
So you said you just made this?
Wait, sorry, matters.
You said you had just made this game?
Oh yeah, I just made the game today.
Are these meshy models?
Yeah, the character only is meshy model.
So the running animation you added in meshy as well, correct?
Yes.
I would say for a meshy model, it's pretty well animated.
Yeah,
I
it
have
looks
no
really good.
problems with it.
So basically, there's like when you rig your character, there's already two animations that are put. Is the walk animation, the walking, and the running. And I just kept the the running because it was great.
So what do you think, Toxic? Watching you play, it looks pretty responsive, looks pretty, like it's got good rhythm and good pace to it, but it looks playable. Doesn't look excessively difficult. What are your thoughts?
It seems to run good. I'm a little confused on maybe what some of the pickups are. I would like it if there was a reason for me to get larger instead of just saying smaller. But overall, it plays really nice. I like maybe the UI refinement. You got a lot of space up here that you could probably do something with. But yeah, other than that, I think this is on its way to being something pretty cool.
Yeah, looks good. You know what I
And
might
for-
do? I think you're at the point where the game itself looks pretty solid. Maybe you can just focus on polish at this point. One little tiny thing that's jumping out at me is you've got all this great animation and this really clear perspective of moving down this long track, but then your background trees don't really appear to be scrolling at all. So maybe it'd be kind of cool to have
Oh.
those move a little bit as well. Because it does kind of break the illusion slightly that you're moving, but the trees aren't. So something to think about. But it's a super small detail, and the fact that that's what I'm pointing out means everything else is looking pretty good. So that's a good sign.
Well, the fact that I didn't notice that, which
There's that too.
totally bothering me, is not a terrible thing because think that all the tension is focused right in the center of the gameplay, so I didn't really notice it. But I do think that if you made that maybe scroll slower than your platform here, it would look pretty good.
Yeah, so subtle.
Yeah,
You could
nice,
also,
nice.
yeah, no, it's great. You could also, and this is also very, very subtle. You could maybe think about doing something with the sky backdrop because it all looks like it's just a solid light blue, which is fine. And I wouldn't suggest anything heavy because you want to keep the focus on the track. But it is a lot of empty space that you could maybe throw some clouds or something just to kind of complete the scene because you've done a nice job of creating this like whimsical kind of cartoony outdoor space, and you could maybe have a little more detail there.
Okay, I just wanted to point out something that Toxic said that was great, and you too, Alex. So for Toxic, when you said what's the purpose of the, being large, I think I should like do obstacles. There are obstacles that are like walls, as you can see, and maybe the only way to get through is to being big. And there are obstacles that require your character to be skinny or thin. So I will make that. And for Alex, maybe yeah, the sky. I think I will maybe change it, but replace the trees by a sea, like that. I don't have to get it. Maybe a moving sea, like a ocean.
Well, so something to think about is because again, the core of your game looks like it's pretty good. So the thing you're going to want to think about next is what does progression look like? Like if I play this game for 10 minutes, does it reward me with things that change and all that? And one of the easy ways to do that is to make sure that every so often the environment changes. So maybe you have a different background after you've achieved some milestone. Maybe the sky changes color. You mentioned having like an ocean, but maybe you have both. Maybe you've got a forest level, an ocean level. Maybe there's one where you're running through a city. So that's something to think about as well to give the game more longevity.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to say, like, can I make like different, like the levels are not endless, and maybe do like different like paths, like different portals, different like, for example, there's like wait, how do you call it? Like there's not a single line of the road, but like there are up and down, you know.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yes, you could
I mean,
imagine.
like elevation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I would change though is this bar above the head because I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on here. And I got this big bar kind of filling up in the middle of the screen. Maybe move that to the bottom below her feet where you don't have to interact with anything. Or maybe think about putting it up here. Maybe getting rid of this fit bar because I don't really think that adds anything to the game and I really don't understand what it even actually is. So I would maybe remove this completely, shift everything upwards, and maybe put this bar here in between your health and how many coins you got.
All right. That's a good idea.
Yeah, good advice. Good advice. Cool.
right.
Why don't
Moving
we
on.
check out the next game? Next looks like it is going to be Astro Mining, Bots Quest Home. I think I've played. Oh, I have played this. I know. I'm sure you've played it as well.
I have a few
Toxic, but
times,
maybe you
quite
can
a
play
few
it.
times.
I didn't play it. I didn't play it.
Oh wait,
Well,
I've forgotten the other
You
half.
forgot. You forgot. I'm still here. I'm still here. I still got a little bit of time.
All right, how about this? We're going to give the floor to the Nox half of Noxic for fresh eyes on what's it called? Wait, what's the name of the game? Astro Miner.
Astro Miner bot. Uh-oh. So I cheated. I clicked on it before just to check it out. And the game asked me if I wanted the short version of the narrative or the long version. So I clicked on the short version, of course. But now I'm disappointed
By the way,
because
don't look out of your at your bed.
look at my belt.
remember, boy, we want to make sure that we're not holding their hand while they're playing. We want to kind of observe how they're playing so that we can kind of get that gist of how an average player would give the feedback. So if you notice he's not doing something,
but just want to get that surprise.
Well, how about this? Let's let Nox play for a minute, and then we'll do it again, where you can point out things to check out.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Sure. Why not?
So I clicked replay and maybe I broke the game, but I lost the ability to know what I was supposed to be doing. So there's nothing reminding me that I'm supposed to mind these little things. Now I know because I remembered, but if you had a little board somewhere, maybe it's logs. No, maybe it's set. No. top stats? Okay, no. So I got nothing reminding me what I'm supposed to be doing and why. Why am I doing this? Is another important
There's a
question.
rewatch intro in the settings.
In the
You didn't see it?
okay. But does this tell me why I'm doing this and what is my main goal? Like, what's my objective? Why am I mining these things? What am I getting towards to? What's my goal that I'm getting towards to? My first goal. Like, you need to breadcrumb me and keep me interested as to why
And you know
I
what?
want to play this.
I think the way to give Knox what he wants, I think this is generally good advice, is everything that's in that intro could actually be something that happens in the game. So the intro seems like it's kind of spelling out the different steps you take or the different tasks you have. But the best time to do that is always when it's in front of the player and they're about to actually do it. So if you've got this very cute little robot flying through space and the job is to mine the asteroids, that should pop up the first time I mine an asteroid. Just tell me to do it right there. And then if maybe I have to bring something back to my ship, the next step can tell me to go back to my ship or whatever. So it's not that the intro content is bad, it's that it usually is better to put it into the game itself, not in front of the game. Because otherwise, odds are they're going to read it, they're going to kind of skim it, they might forget, and it's not going to help them when they actually need that information.
Another thing I'm noticing is all the asteroids are going at
And
the same speed. Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it.
by the way, actually thought about this, and I actually put, like, when you're not mining like anything, I put something that tells you to mine the nearest asteroid. I
Good.
put like
That's
something.
That's
It's
great. Yeah.
it's not a very frequent reminder, but it's there.
Yeah, but you're
Just
you're
wait
thinking the
for
right way.
for like
That's
30 seconds or something.
Yeah, that's a good instinct. It means you're thinking about how to actually guide the player in the game. So my advice is just do more of that. You're already thinking the right way, so just keep going. And sorry, Noxic, you were about to explain some aspect of the.
Yeah, so during if you're considering adding a tutorial, don't hesitate to add asteroids that are either slower or even like nearly static so that the player understands what he has to do. And it's going to give also a different feel to your game because right now everything seems to scroll at the same speed. So it's kind of a little bit you're kind of uncertain about the priorities and what you're supposed to be hitting first and a little bit confusing on that part of things. If I'm hitting the bigger things and I'm not supposed to be doing it, don't hesitate to add feedback that you're like you shouldn't be doing that right now. A little bit more obvious feedback to the player. Also, make sure that your particles are properly on the proper layer so they don't go in front of your things of the
Yeah, that's a
asteroids.
good point. It looks like the robot's exhaust trail is layered above the planets, but the robot is layered below the planets, so they kind of look disconnected. The effect is
Something.
really cool. Just make sure that they're layered together.
So somebody told me I'm supposed to go back to my ship, but I think you meant like pressing it here. Now that's a question you could ask yourself. Do you want the player to go back to his ship manually, or do you want the player to just press a button? Because I would prefer just going back to my ship, doing a bunch of things, and then leaving. So it would feel like this is my breather. This is my time where I relax and I do my thing, and then when I'm done, I'm off and I'm going in space, and then I'm like separating the two things. And it would also free up a little bit of your bottom icons. So let's say on mobile, it's different to understand which icons you're staring at. Then you have more space now because you can make them bigger.
I do agree. Going back to your ship would be a cooler thing than hitting that button down there at the bottom. It
Yeah,
would
I think
make the person
generally speaking, if you can make the player actually do something like a physical action versus just tapping whatever, then that's usually kind of the more fun, immersive way. I would agree with that too.
Is the map serve a purpose other than pointing me at my ship?
Uh, Actually, you're gonna get minions later, and the minions show up in the map.
Gotcha.
I
So
didn't really want to do spoilers, but you like asked,
it's
so
okay.
I
I would
explained
love.
in
No,
the right way.
don't worry about it. I'm just curious because we get like 5 minutes per game, so it's a little bit difficult to play it to the extent that you want to,
Yeah.
or that we
By
should
the way,
actually.
you see you're getting rare stuff right now. You see the sun. I think it's like 1 in 1,000 or something.
Wow.
And
It's cool.
But
Are you mining the
yeah,
sun?
that's cool.
Don't give
Yeah,
Elon Musk ideas.
But can you go to minions up
you're
there now?
probably
In the
gonna
top
need
middle?
upgrades to mine the sun later
There we are. And get
when
some
it
of
comes
our.
back for revenge. When it comes back, you're gonna no, it's not gonna have its revenge. It's gonna come back for a rematch or something, and then it's gonna get obliterated if you have the right upgrades.
I love
Can
it.
you
This is
Well, so you
can you
awesome.
see,
ex-
the minion system is pretty cool. They also have a battery, and you have to give them volts to deploy them, and then they stay for like a bit,
You
mining the
a ton of cool
asteroids.
stuff in this game. I
At the
think
start, they kind of suck. At the start, they suck. But if you upgrade them and let them be in swarms a lot, they can take down the whole Earth.
You
I'm
have a
not
lot
kidding.
of great ideas. I think that you need to pace and tutorialize some of your ideas to the players because or else we're not necessarily going to
Yes,
understand.
sure.
Or maybe even simplify your idea. Like, is the battery truly something necessary? Why is it there? Because I feel like I own this minion now. Why do I need a battery? Oh, because it has to charge. Got it. Okay.
Well,
Well,
either way, I think the ideas are great. I think you've got some good little feedback points about clarity and when the tutorials pop up. So that's something to think about. But I mean, oh, look at that. That's awesome. The core of the game is really good, though. You've done really good work here. So I think you're
yeah.
at a point now where it's mostly about. I like what Knox said about maybe you can simplify things a little bit. And I definitely think you could do more to explain things. But that's basically it. I think everything else is looking good. So keep it up. And
Sure.
yeah, just
Uh-huh.
focus on tightening everything up and then
Oh, you know what? I have this cool idea to tutorialize the game. Hear me out. Quests.
okay. No, quests are great.
Tasks,
I mean, yeah,
tasks or quests are great. Yeah.
quest can kind of serve
Yeah,
as
I think.
so yeah, no, it's a good idea. I think you're on the right track. So we got to move on though. We're still we're making terrible time as always. That's
Uh huh.
all on us. That's our fault, everybody. We're trying to get better.
Alex
Uh,
speedrunning.
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to speed run, but I'm mostly just regular running. Not even running. I'm walking. Okay. Well, thanks. Uh, thanks, Boy F sad. I hope you're gonna be Boy F happy after this. Let's see if I'm gonna. You know what? I got to play the next game because it is Pika and High Quality's collab that everyone is so excited about. And by everyone, I mostly mean me, but also everyone. All right, we have got. I believe this is our Grand Theft Auto game from the other day. We've seen this game progress. Grand Theft Astra, created by High Quality on our own Pika P. By the way, there was some talk about I'm gonna lend some narration, some voice acting to this intro. We might want to do this next week, guys, because I mean I got to literally have to run in like a few minutes, so maybe we do the actual kind of voice recording of this game next week. Um, but I might lend some completely overhyped voice talent to this game. For example, stuff like "Sit down, kid. We got business to discuss." It'll be that. It'll be that kind of high quality voice acting you can all look forward to. For now, though, I'm going to skip past this because I want us to get into the game. And by the way, I really do advise, guys, just cut this down a little bit. It's very fun, but I think it's just too much. I think you're going to lose players. People are not going to want to click through all of this, and then they're not going to get to the good stuff of the game. So keep like maybe 2 or 3 lines. Make it super quick. Let's see if I still get hit by a car as soon as the game starts. Yes! This was everyone's favorite detail from last time. Instead of giving the player an instant win, you give them instant death. What can go wrong? It really sets the tone of the game. I like that a lot. Okay, and we have been talking a lot about the need for a quest system, which is actually perfect timing because it kind of ties into the last game we looked at. And even though we got a little bit of looks like some typography issues, I have an objective, which is great. So now I kind of know what to do. I mean, I kind of know what to do. I'm still not exactly sure how to do it, but at least I know to steal a car. Now I can steal this car, so let's see if this works. Oh, and it tells me what to do. Okay, shift, drift, space, and nitro. Ooh, cool. I can.
Oh, we still have that little
Yeah,
hit
looks like I
go.
still got the kind of stop and go collision. Oh, not entirely. This actually runs pretty well in this area. So maybe it's inconsistent, but when it's running well. It runs very smoothly, which is good. Okay, now objective. Ooh, my objectives changed. Rob the bank vault. Okay, this game is definitely
Oh,
the Lambo can kill you now. Awesome. Okay. So what's great about this though is that the objectives are changing. So as I score my first uh, objective, it immediately updates to my next objective, which is perfect. You know what I would still love? I think Tox, you're going to agree with me on this. Is I would still really love to have a like an arrow, something on screen guiding me. I think that'd be a great addition.
yeah, I agree.
Something's still up with the cop car, so I'm going to steal something else. I guess the car stayed where I died, which is kind of cool. There's like persistence in the game world.
I was
Uh,
wondering that because it's the quest started over, but do you need a car to rob the bank? So maybe it just started over to where you need to get a car again.
yeah, and that actually might be a good idea. Maybe reset the whole game world if the quest reset. I don't know. I'm noticing this might be a bug. I am not in a car, but I have car controls on the screen. Oh, look at this. The weather changed. How cool is that?
Are you controlling the camera angle up and down?
That's what I was just trying to do. And oh, you know what? I do it. I was trying to click and drag, but you just move your cursor to look around. That works well. All right. How about if I just steal an ambulance? I guess that counts. That's a kind of a car. Okay. Now I'm gonna go rob a bank in an ambulance, which feels very morally wrong, but that's what makes this game fun. Let's see. Does the minimap show me where the bank is? That's my question. Ooh, wait a
Oh, it's
second.
detailed and small.
Click to expand, but it doesn't seem to expand. Uh, okay, that might be a bug. Let's just zoom in.
That must be the
Wait,
Lambo.
yeah, it really loves showing me where the Lambo is. Like, no matter what the game objective is, the game wants you to know exactly where the Lamborghini is. It's a little hard to control, though. I keep trying to back up, and I can't tell if I'm doing something wrong or if there's something off about the steering. I know this collision thing is not me. That's something that needs to be fixed. Let's see. So I know where the game started. Was that like getting out of prison? I think that's where the game. I don't think that was the bank. These look like houses. Is this a bank? Hmm. Yeah, honestly, my biggest piece of advice is please give me like some kind of a waypoint or guide system or something, because the world is really cool and it's fun to explore, but it is a little bit frustrating when you know you have something. Oops, when you when you got something you have to do, but um, but you don't know where to go for it, because that kind of confusion is just usually not super fun. Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to see most. I would love to review the game in more depth, but I think the best way to do that is give me like a guide to follow, and then we can do a more in-depth playtest session maybe next week. But I still love the concept. The game's got like really good humor to it, and I love any kind of open world game, and so seeing an Astrocade version of that is awesome. So keep it up, guys. See, like I said earlier, whatever we discuss in office hours becomes reality in the chat. Alex is now stolen ambulance with complete with avatar is now one of our users. All right, want to do one more. I really got to run, but we'll do one more, and then Toxic. Are you going to be able to stick around a little bit longer? What do you think?
Yeah, I can. We'll go back down to the lounge, and then people who want the game further tested for feedback, I'll do that for them. I'll need a break though in between, but
Yeah, no, of
definitely.
course, totally. But I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to play one more. I'm going to play Arcade Archer from Plankton Fun. Plankton Fun, by the way, has been killing it lately. Check out his fast food simulator game. I believe is a Player's Choice classic already. Really good work from our friend Plankton Fun. Whoa, look at this. I love the look of this game. I love the style. I'm already really into it. This is really, really cool. Okay, let's see. It looks like it's kind of a top-down 3D, but kind of 3D as 2D style. I'm auto shooting, so I think I just have to walk around and just wherever I go, I fire arrows. I really like the look. It's a combination of some kind of cell shading, like Toon style 3D, um, with some nice looking textures. I think the textures feel a little stretched. Super minor note. These just seem like they're being kind of stretched in a rectangular shape, but other than that, no big deal. I really like the way the world is set up. It's like these different rooms, but there's a lot of detail in the styling. I think what I would like to see more of, though, just my first impression is I feel like the role of the enemies seems almost kind of secondary. Like they're really easy to kill and they don't take long. And so I spend most of my time just kind of walking around. I wonder if maybe this game would benefit from having more enemies that appear more regularly, so it's more of a like a swarm or something. Because I'm leveling up like a survivor game. Like I get these regular level up boosts, but the enemies themselves are very infrequent. So that might be. I get the impression this is kind of an early stage of the game, so I don't want to read into anything too much. But I think I'd like to see just a little bit more action. I guess I'm kind of getting that now. I have 3 of them, but yeah, it's a little feels like a little too light, a little too easy. And I guess I'm just replaying the same level over and over. Maybe that'll change in the next version. But yeah, the look of the game is awesome. I like the concept, but this could definitely just feel more structurally like there's more of a purpose to it. Feels a little bit random right now. Let's see, is Plankton Fun here in the chat?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, yes, Plankton Fun. Cool, yeah. Okay, core loop stage. Okay, great. So it looks like what Plankton Fun is doing is exactly the right thing to do. Get the core game mechanic and then test that before adding too much stuff. So good job. So here's my core game mechanic feedback. It's easy to play and it's very responsive. That's always good. I feel like it does what I want it to do. I don't feel frustrated by it. I don't know if this idea of corridors works with shooting at enemies though, because it often feels kind of awkward. Like, let me replay that. So check this out. When I start the game, I have this narrow hallway, right? I walk down this hallway, and then I've got these 2 enemies that are kind of outside the hallway. And I think maybe your point is to try to make the player stick their neck out and go into a dangerous area. That's kind of cool, but it feels like I'm almost fighting with the landscape a little bit. So it might be, I don't know, maybe once I walk into the arena, maybe a door closes behind me and maybe the room is bigger and I have to like run around shooting a bunch of enemies or something like that. But when there's just 2 of them and they're kind of hiding behind the wall, it feels a little bit awkward. So that's just like a balance thing to think about. But it's great. It's a really good start. So I think if you try to balance things a little bit more, but you keep this really good look, this could be awesome. Nice, nicely done. Okay, cool. Thanks, Plankton Fun. I've got to take off. It's a little after 12. Okay, all right. I can't say no. If people say one more, I do one more. So you win, Osmo. Let's see. Who's next? Is it your game? Is that why? It looks like it is. Atomic chain reaction. Let's try it out. 8 more. I wish I could stick around and play more games, guys, but you know what? Someone has to get back to putting Astro Academy lessons on the web, and that is my job. I'm doing that for you guys. Okay, atomic chain reaction. Whatever's going on here, my first reaction is this is a very complicated kind of title screen. It's not super clear what to do, but I'm just gonna press this button because it looks pressable. Okay, welcome to the grid pilot. Let's learn the math of space. Corners only have 2 paths to neighbors. They pop at 2 taps. Tap this corner twice. Okay. Ooh, this game looks really nice. These are really great visuals. Perfect. The corner popped at 2 taps because it only has 2 neighbors. Okay. So what I'm getting is this is like kind of a puzzle game. My advice, even though it's very cleverly written, I like the style of the dialogue. This might be a lot to read for someone who's just swiping through games in the Astrocade feed. So you might want to think about ways to make that just more concise. Like keep the tutorial, it's good that you're explaining it, but it might just be better if there's a little bit less reading to do. Center squares are the fortresses with 4 paths that require 4 taps to collapse. Check the center. So for instance, you might just say tap 4 times or something, right? That may be too simple, but I feel like it's a lot of reading for each step. And it might just be just enough to slow people down, which you don't want. To win, you must completely eliminate all rival pieces. We do this by capturing their territory. Pop the center square to override the enemy next to it. So the concept is fun. I really like this idea of kind of like breaking your way through these blocks, enemy territory, whatever. But yeah, I would love to see this simplified because it looks so cool. The visuals are great. You've really polished it. And the concept is fun. I can tell there's a fun concept there. Let me try to do one more. Skip the briefing. Oh, I guess it's single player. Okay. So I can tap twice here, right? And then, wait, did that work? Okay. And then I can do, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, oh, it's turn-based. I thought it was real time for a second. I don't know why I thought that. Wait, is it turn-based? Sorry, I'm also distracted by all the spamming in the channel. That is just part of life in office hours. So that, yeah, this game looks great, but I feel like it was not super clear to me if it was like real time or turn based.
Yeah, it is turn-based.
Okay.
You're
Oh, you know
playing
what
with
though? It's
AI.
because I think I know what confused me. In the tutorial, I do multiple taps, but I think I get 1 tap per turn in the game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so so in the tutorial you're asking people to do multiple taps, but in the game it doesn't quite work that way. So that threw me off. That is something I would doubt, and it makes the game more. It makes much more sense. If I could do all the taps I want in a turn, there'd be no real challenge. So I definitely get what you're going for here. So okay, so now that I see what's going on here, my strong advice is simplify the game tutorial a lot and make it clear that you only get 1 tap per turn. I think if you make those 2 changes, this becomes a much, much better game. But I love the concept and I love the visuals. Cool. So yeah, now I really do have to run. But I love it, Nosmo. If you can maybe simplify things a little bit, but it looks like Toxic said if he's not back before class ends, he'll be in the lounge for anyone wanting further feedback. So definitely hit up Toxic. He is great at game teardowns and critiques and will give you plenty of playtest information. Today is Friday, so
Sure.
it's the end of the week for us, but we will be back on Monday. Monday is AMA. We're going to try to have a member of the Astrocade team in every Monday. Might be Andre, might be somebody else. We'll see who's here and who's available, but there will always be someone to answer your questions. So please think of what you want to know, and we'll be there to answer them for you. Manvi will definitely be there. She will for sure be attending on Monday. As always, I want to say thank you to Noxic, that is Nox and Toxic, and of course Pika P for keeping us all on track. And thanks to Andre for joining us today. So we'll be back on Monday. And in the meantime, keep creating, and we will, of course, be online in the channel in Astro Academy and elsewhere. So keep your questions coming there, and please keep sharing games. Thanks, everybody.